Walkers, 1 Garrett, Primal Hunter, 1 Liliana of the Veil, and of course lands to cast them. So this is a deck that we've been seeing over the past couple of months, and we're seeing it here as well from Aaron Deforge on the right. And Glenn has Esper Spirits.
I have Eddie Walker. You see him there on the left. He's playing Geist of St. Traft, typical for his Esper Spirit deck. We also got Drog Skull Captain, Dungeon Geist Restoration Angel. You might remember some of these cards from, you know, a Pro Tour a year or so
Honolulu.
ago. Yeah. But added to the cast, Obsidat Ghost Council. A spirit.
Yes.
A spirit.
Cavern of Souls. They're
Cavern of Souls. Only 3 caverns. A little light, but you know, it's cool. And then one of the reasons we only have 3 caverns is we're running 7 charms, 4 Azorius charms to be expected, and 3 Orzhov charms.
We have not seen Orzhov charm yet today.
Orzhov charm is a card I actually like a fair bit. I think it has some modern applications, maybe more so than standard. It's an excellent weapon in Death Ray Shaman Wars, given that it gets yours back and can kill theirs on the cheap.
Okay. All right.
Pretty good range. In this deck, I imagine it's mostly just a Vendetta. That seems to be how he's playing the card. But that said, it can bounce a creature of yours back to your hand, which in the case of your spirits could be pretty relevant to save a good one. Yeah,
and Obsidat is a card that we did see a little bit earlier today on a feature match. Pat and I did, and it was actually being piloted by Dave Thomas, and it was pretty good.
Yeah,
it was pretty good.
Dave is on X2 now, I believe, finding out for the $100.
Okay.
But we have not seen the last of Obsidat. We're seeing him right now. We've got more to come from Mr. 5/5.
Yeah, this card is definitely real. It's a card that a lot of people compare to Ghost Council Verzova from you know, a couple of, actually not even a handful of years ago.
Yeah.
God, I'm old.
Oh, we're old.
But I mean, that card was incredibly powerful, and that's obviously easy to compare those 2 cards, but again, these are 2 wildly different cards. Outside of, you know, sharing white, black, black, and having a similar name, I don't think they compare any other real ways.
Yeah, they play completely differently. This one in particular, an excellent aggressive tool.
Yeah.
Whereas I think previous Ghost Council, you know, more of a mid-rangey guy. He kind of like controlled the board.
Yeah.
More so, Obsidat is perfectly happy racing whatever you're trying to do and dodging all your spells while he does it.
Yeah, it's a really unique card, a fun design as well from the guys over there at R&D. Just a really cool, flavorful card, and it looks to be a really good one. Hopefully we'll see it in action here in this match from Eddie Walker and his Esper Spirits deck. Haven't seen Drug Skull Captain in a long time. It actually has been almost a calendar year. Yep, since SCG Black, and those guys came through with, you know, your Drug Skull Captains and your Phantasmal Images and your Lingering Souls. Obviously, excuse me, Phantasmal Image is no longer legal, but Drug Skull Captain still is a powerful card. When you assemble 2 of them, can't kill anything. So maybe we'll be seeing more of that moving forward.
Yeah, I pegged early when I saw that Obsidat was a spirit. Drog Skull Captain is maybe coming back. That said, you're lacking a good clone. Yep. Phantasmal Image is gone. Phyrexian Metamorph is gone. So that kind of weakens the guy a little bit.
Clone is legal.
Clone is himself legal.
Clone.
Cackling Counterpart is also an option.
Oh, hello.
And I think that's one of the more reasonable ones, especially in an archetype like this. The downside being with a high density of legendary creatures, you're going to have some times when Cackling Counterpart is a literal blank.
Yep. Can be bad more than it is good. But we do see both players shuffling here, some mulligans taking place on, looks like, Eddie's side of things. Another card you're going to find here, Glenn, curious about your opinion on it, Blind Obedience, a card that we saw be very good for Bronson Magnum in the brief feature match that we had with him. This is a card that I personally feel is a card you can play, you know, it's a really solid 1 of. Maybe you can play 2 throughout your 75, but you see 3 in the main deck of Eddie Walker's deck here.
In the control decks, I really think it's better as a 1, maybe a 2 of. In Eddie's deck, I actually think it's a better weapon, and I don't mind him maxing out on it, because when you think about it, he's a racing deck. Like, against these mono-red decks and whatnot, he is going to be trying to race them. So, their guys coming into play tap, that lets his Geists get through, that adds incidental damage thanks to the Extort. I think it gives a lot of reach to the deck in a category where it might not have it otherwise, especially good with Charms, which are very cheap, can disrupt the board, and also you get a little drain on them.
All right, we are underway. The players have kept their hands. You see some lands coming into play, an Overgrown Tomb coming in and play untapped, and you're going to see a Farseek. Aaron going to pool ahead here while Eddie does take a mulligan and just has a Hallowed Fountain. One of the more important cards from the Jund mid-range deck, being able to accelerate its mana, being able to fix it, and be able to get Huntmaster of the Fells and Olivia Voldaren online a little bit earlier than scheduled.
Yeah, I would classify Jund with and without Farseek as basically 2 completely different decks.
Yeah.
One of them is pretty impressive, and the other one is pretty mopey.
Yeah. Mopey is a good word to use, I think. Mopey is a good word. So we'll see Eddie draw a card here. And the thing about Eddie's deck, outside of, you know, Blind Obedience, he doesn't do a lot of things on the opening turns of the game. You know, he's got some Azorius Charms and some Orzhov Charms, Devour Flesh in his deck, but he's not really doing anything in the opening turns of the game.
Very few actual 2-drops.
Yeah. And, you know, there is no mana leak in the format to defend himself, so maybe we'll be seeing a cycling of of Azorius Charm.
There is a card in the new set, not so dissimilar from a mana leak. Obviously not in this situation.
Yeah.
The Gate Crash creature dependent, sort of a unified will variant. I think it's called Spell Rupture.
I believe that is the name, yes.
So that's a card some people have pegged as maybe inciting the return of Delver, and perhaps in a deck like this, maybe you'll see that card showing up one day. Obviously, you have to have creatures in play for it to do anything, though. That's kind of a downside.
And we are going to see a Cycled Azorius Charm here from Eddie. Draws a Drog Skull Captain. He has a Water Grave in his hand as well, and does draw a Cavern of Souls now. So you are going to see Cavern of Souls. We'll get confirmation on what it's naming. Likely to be Spirit.
Given that every creature in his deck except for Restoration Angel is a Spirit, I got a good feeling.
Oh, you. Too smart you are. Geist of St. Giraffe comes down for Eddie. Aaron had missed his land drop, but he's hit it now, and he has a Huntmaster to get in front of the Geist of St. Giraffe.
Yep. Now see how much a turn 2 Blind Obedience would have done in this game?
Would have been real good.
It would have been a nice one.
Yeah,
we would have been pretty happy with it.
So you are going to see Huntmaster, the 2 life, and the Wolf token come into play. Something I'm sure everyone is used to at this point in our standard format. We'll see what Eddie can do to counteract this, as Huntmaster is a great way to one-up a Geist of St. Giraffe.
Yeah, if he has a Restoration Angel, he can start a pretty savage clock. It'll also be a clock that's durable to a potential bonfire from Aaron on the next turn, which is nice. That said, untapped up. I wonder what that could mean.
We see the new art for Watery Grave coming to play untapped. Oh, we're going to see a Dungeon Geist.
That's not quite as effective, but it's fine. He's tapping the Huntmaster. I would think we might tap the Wolf here, and then attack, being willing to trade.
Yeah, probably.
I guess if he has an answer, then maybe he has something else going on here. I thought I saw Devour Flesh in his hand, which makes this Dungeon Geist pretty awkward, so that's one reason to not tap the Wolf.
Yeah.
You'd much rather make him sack his Huntmaster if he wants to generate any value out of that exchange.
And one of the other cards that he does have in his hand is a Drog Skull Captain as well, so, you know, by tapping the Huntmaster, next turn he can play Drog Skull Captain, get in there with the 4/4 Dungeon Geist and the
3/3 Geist of
St. Giraffe.
Fair point, fair point.
And as you do see Aaron taking a look at Dungeon Geist, we'll bring it up on the screen for you guys, as this is a card that we've seen a lot more of today than we thought we were going to over the course of these rounds.
I was reminded that the card exists during Cube, actually, this week.
Okay.
One of my 3-0 decks featured a Dungeon Geist,
and
he was
humble
quite
brag.
handy.
The old humble brag.
You mean I shouldn't have mentioned the record of the deck?
Yeah, no need to do that. We do see Huntmaster flip into Ravager, going to deal 2 damage over the Dungeon Geist. There's your next Cavern of Souls, so Ubsdat is actually online.
Yep. Assuming you name Spirit.
Assuming, yes. We'll never want to assume. And Spirit is confirmation. Spirit it is. And we are going to see that Drog Skull Captain.
Drog Skull Captain hitting the lands. I guess we're checking on. I don't know what's happening actually. A judge is just reading something. Ultimate price, not a Devour Flesh. Okay. Ultimate pricing, that.
And here come the boys.
That's a lot of damage.
That is definitely a lot of damage. Yeah.
The judge was sliding Spirit into the Cavern of Souls to assure us. Amusingly, white and black also the colors we would primarily be tapping them for, I imagine.
That's true. This is a lot of damage. And not only that, but in order for Aaron to kind of get out from underneath this, he actually has to kill the Drog Skull Captain.
Well, a Miracled Bonfire will do the trick, so that's what he's hoping for. Just a Bonfire will be okay, but not great. He passed flipping his Huntmaster before. Now, because we played 2 spells, it flips back. I think maybe that was incentive to not ultimate price the Wolf, to be honest. Just attack with your 3/3 Geist into Wolf.
Yeah.
He probably didn't want to flip the Huntmaster. That was a spell burn that we didn't need to make.
Because now if Aaron chooses to do nothing, he can flip the Huntmaster back again to Ravager the Fells and take out the Drog Skull Captain.
Yep.
So that may have been a bit of a misstep on Eddie's part. We'll see what Aaron's plans are for this turn.
The best part is we have an Azorius Charm in our hand. We could have even countered the flip back if he tried to do anything.
That's true.
But I guess it would have still been. This is getting complicated.
Yeah. Magic's not easy.
Magic is not easy, except for when it's an easy game.
You see Aaron kind of fiddling around through his hand. He does have a Museum Mortars there. That's a 1-of in his deck. He doesn't have a lot of red mana to overload it. And he also has this guy, which is a Thragtusk.
This guy. Thragtusk and Geist of St. Giraffe. Old nemesis. Yep. Old nemesis.
Battling for years.
Dungeon Geist, an answer many people thought might come down against Thragtusk when Thragtusk first came out, but he never really caught hold. I think that had to do with Searing Spear.
I think that has a lot to do.
Ultimate price. Yeah. And Bonfire of the Damned Dan. Dreadbore and Museum Mortars and Olivia Voldaren, probably even. Like, whew.
all the ways to kill it. It's not fair. So you see Eddie shuffling a couple cards here in his hand. He has 2 copies of Azorius Charm, and he just drew a Devour Flesh. And the issue here is, with playing Cavern in your deck, it obviously is going to help you cast those spirits, but I can't cast all of these spells now, even though I'd like to.
Yep.
I can't cast 2 Azorius Charms right now. He can actually cast Azorius Charm and Devour Flesh. That can happen, but again, I think 2 Azorius Charms would probably be better in this situation. But either way, I think we're going to see some guys come across here, and you know, at the end of the day, he is going to have to cast a spell because that Huntmaster is still over there looming.
Yes.
And if he doesn't cast a spell, it's going to take down that Droxel Captain. So what to do? He's thinking just like me and you.
At a minimum, we're attacking with those 2 guys for 6. Whether we send the Geist as well is a little debatable. All right, those 2 guys are coming over. 6 puts Aaron on 10.
Now it's time to cast a spell.
We passed the turn.
He does pass the turn.
That's really awkward. I don't like that. Cycling Azorius Charm was better than letting that happen.
Yeah.
Throwing away Devour Flesh was also fine.
Yeah, I think you have to cast a spell there just because that's how important the Droxel Reaver is as far as the combat math and the hexproof. I think it's just far too important.
Conserving these spells is also really awkward with our mana because we still can't cast multiples of them, so we're not generating a lot of value by having multiple Azorius Charms in our hand.
Yeah. We'll see if that comes back to bite Eddie.
Frankly, I expect it's going to.
Yeah. I think that Droxel Captain may be the most important card on the board right now.
Yeah, it's also very likely that Aaron can cast 2 spells now. Like, he's missed land drops, so we know his hand is spell dense. Like, even firing a Bonfire for like 0 or something to flip your Huntmaster back is not the craziest.
Yeah, just trying to keep his head above water, just to get as much life as he possibly can. You know that Aaron, again, does have a Mizium Mortars in his hand. Rootbound Crag is the 2nd red source that he needed of the 3 to be able to overload that, which is something you feel like he's trying to get to.
Yeah. To be honest, I think blowing it just on Dungeon Geist is relatively reasonable in this spot.
Just to get the Huntmaster back?
Yeah. I would do that only if it's part of a flip combination. It looks like he's going to fire a Rakdos return.
He's got
I really don't like going for the full amount here when we could just go for 2 and then Mizium Mortars and get our flip.
Sure.
It looks like he's going to cast Devour Flesh in response, which I would do as well.
That's what you're going to see.
Yep. I would vastly have preferred to flip again this turn. He's considering the tapped guy, thinking, oh, my guy's tapped, I don't really want it anymore.
We'll bring Devour Flesh up on the screen for you. This is the new Diabolic Edicts type card that is coming in the format right now. It's a pretty good card.
It is very good. It's an excellent control card against the Hexproof deck. It's a little weaker in aggressive strategies because it does give the life to the opponent.
Yeah.
So, not the best. But when you're getting beat down by 6/6 Invisible Stalkers and the like,
just get that thing off the board.
Yeah, you're cool. You're cool with this exchange.
Yeah. And so you're going to see Rakdos return, take care of the other 2 Azorius Charms, and then deal a couple points of damage as well. We did catch a glimpse of Aaron's hand. He does have... It looks like he has another spell to play here, Glenn. He does have 2 copies of Deforge in his deck, and he is reaching. He also has 2 copies of Pillar of Flame.
Either of those would be fine. I would be approving of those versus casting the Mortars, I think. I think it's close still. But.
And so now you're going to see just Pillar of Flame go upstairs.
Yep.
And that's going to flip Huntmaster... Excuse me, it's going to flip Ravager of the Fells back into Huntmaster of the Fells now. And you see the trigger there. Another Wolf token. Guys are saying Trap can't come along. Aaron's going to move up even more life now. So he's doing a nice job of stabilizing in a game that he was pretty far behind in.
Yeah, this Huntmaster doing some serious work. I think that Eddie has kind of allowed it to do this work, though.
Yeah.
Big issue.
You see Dungeon Geist come across again. Eddie's draw step is another Devour Flesh. Again, a pretty good card in some situations, but this certainly is not one of them.
Huntmaster of the Fells, specifically, not a good creature to want to be trying to devour the flesh of.
Oh. And so now you're going to see Huntmaster flip back into Ravager of the Fells. And I think this is an actual record for a number of times that Huntmaster has flipped back and forth and back and forth.
It's definitely getting up there. I can't recall seeing it do it this often, but man.
You see you see Aaron play a Kessig Wolf Run. We know he has a Thundermaw Hellkite in his hand as well.
I think he's going to play that Thundermaw Hellkite. That's what I would do.
Can we get a raise? Pay a raise.
I'm usually like the only card you're really scared of in that situation is like Supreme Verdict, but your opponent's playing Geist of St. Traft and Dungeon Geist. It doesn't seem very likely he's playing Supreme Verdict.
Yeah.
Those cards are not combos.
Yeah, and you're just going to see a concession here. I think, very briefly before we do move on to the sideboard again, I think you do cast the Thundermaw Hellkite there, all joking aside, just because it does take care of the rest of the Dungeon Geist. I think that's maybe something Aaron missed on that turn. Like,
the 2 damage he's already put on there with Ravager.
Yeah, I think he may have missed that. Either way, a lethal attack coming across with a Thragtusk and the Wolf token, and we move on to game numero dos.
So if I'm Eddie, I'm probably siding out those Devour Fleshes. They seem super mediocre.
I'm with you on that.
As for what I'm bringing in, probably Detention Sphere. He doesn't have a lot of great options. His sideboard is Pithing Needles, Augur of Bolus, Rest in Peace, more Devour Flesh, Ultimate Price, and Detention Sphere. I think that I would rather Detention Sphere. Our opponent's Jund. That means we can assume he's threatening Olivia. We can assume that he has, more than the 1 copy of Huntmaster the Fells. Yeah. So we probably want access to a card that can actually kill gold creatures.
Sure. Looking over here at Aaron's sideboard, up a game again with his Jund mid-range deck. Esper Spirits is a deck that's typically played. So, Deathrite Shaman is a card that you would consider leaving in because when you play against blue, you think you're going to play against Snapcaster Mage. We have, obviously, the privilege of having perfect information. There are none.
It's true.
So the two Deathrite Shamans that Aaron has in his main deck, along with the 2 in the sideboard, should all probably be moved to the sideboard now, but you could maybe see a situation where he moves the other 2 into his main deck. Other things here, Liliana the Veil, I think that's almost certainly going to come in.
Yeah, good call.
You're also going to find a copy of Barter in Blood. I think that one's going to be very nice. 2 copies of Rolling Temblor, also going to be pretty good, as we did see Geist of St. Traft. Doesn't kill the Drog School Captain, of course, because of flying, but it is going to be pretty good here. Other than that, 2 copies of Duress, 2 copies of Golgari Charm, another Rakdos Return to Sever the Bloodline, and 2 Slaughter Games. You might maybe see Golgari Charm come in, maybe Duress as well. But I think that's it. I think the Liliana the Veil and the Barter in the Blood are the for sure guys that are going to come in.
Yeah, it's interesting because he actually has a lot of strong cards in his main deck in the matchup. It's tough to figure out what to side out. Yep. Like you're tempted to side out Abrupt Decay because the only card it kills is the Drog School Captain, but that's a pretty important one to kill.
Yep.
I think you can lose the Garruk Primal Hunter, probably just unnecessary. It's a pretty big top end, and you're playing a small ball game in this matchup. Maybe Sever the Bloodline is less effective than your other removal spells.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of like tweaking to upgrade. I would probably be interested in getting rid of Pillar Flame, even though it kills Captain at an efficient cost. It's only doing that in relatively specific situations, and it's never a tricky blowout like the Abrupt Decay can be. So even though it's less efficient, I might be more interested in it.
One card that's really neat here, again, a card that we talked about at the top, Obsidian Ghost Council. Assuming that Eddie draws it, it seems just excellent against this Jund deck.
Yeah, there are very few ways to actually kill it in the Jund deck. Looking at it, I'm thinking like none. He has Victim of Night. Okay, he has 2 Victim of Nights, and that is it. So yeah, that's what we're going to want to lean on. Every other answer to opposite that is a sorcery speed effect. So yeah.
Yeah, just looking. He's going to lean on that, and
I suppose Olivia is also theoretically an answer.
Sure,
but that doesn't seem that likely.
Attacking. If the board says it's not good, Obsidian's not going to attack, so he can just slide and slide and slide and drain and gain all day long, assuming that Aaron doesn't draw one of his 2 Victim of Night. So I think that's going to be one of the more crucial cards in these next 2 games moving forward.
One of the awkward pairings is also that Obsidian against a Huntmaster is mostly a gain for the Huntmaster player, the way the game plays out.
Okay.
So that's going to be kind of awkward. You kind of are forced to make some weird action.
Yeah.
If you're facing a Huntmaster in that situation.
Yeah, that's actually kind of a fun do-si-do I didn't think of. Yeah.
You're not making much headway, and they're incentivized to make lots of it.
Yeah. I want to see Obsidian show up. When Dave Thomas cast it, it was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. And I like to see that card in action just because it is so unique. As much Magic I've played in my life, and as long as this game has been around, I don't think we've ever seen a card quite like that one.
Yeah, it's most reminiscent of Creeping Tar Pit, as odd as that sounds in my head. Yeah. Just like this small threat that's small, The actual threatening aspect of it is relatively small. And it just kind of does its work while you scramble.
Yeah, while you're trying to figure out what you can do about it and come to the realization that the answer is not much.
Yep, not much at all.
So you see both players lay out their hands here. Aaron going to lay out, I believe this is going to be a mulligan. So he's going to table shuffle back up here and go for hopefully at least 6 cards.
Yeah, no Farseek, throw that back.
Yeah, yeah, just the rule.
That's how I roll, man.
The actual rule.
I live big.
Farseeker, I'm not playing. How do you feel about a Spirits deck moving forward? You think this is something that could actually happen?
It's something I've thought about, to be honest. Like, I really did like that Obsidat was a Spirit. It's kind of interesting. That said, I don't know. I like some of the directions of this. I'm interested in exploring Blind Obedience, especially, as a sort of a advanced feeling of dread, if you will.
Sure.
Put a down payment and reap the rewards later, you know?
Yeah, you know, there's definitely some powerful things going on here. I mean, we already know how powerful Geist
Yeah.
Traft is. We have a pretty good idea of how powerful Drog Skull Captain is from years past. Obsidat is clearly powerful on the surface, and I think it plays as well as it looks. You know, can this combination of cards actually work together? Do you need red instead of black? You know, how good is Orzhov Charm, for example? I think those are the things that are going to be interesting figuring out.
Yeah, not excited about Orzhov Charm in this deck in particular. When you're not reaping rewards from the Reanimate 1-drop, it doesn't seem that insane.
Yeah. So we are going to see a shuffle here. We're going to kick it on back. And we're going to take a look at the next 6. If you guys are just joining us at home, Cedric Phillips, Glenton Jones filling in for Pat Sullivan just this round. Then you got to go.
Yep,
Right? Nothing personal. We are here at SCG Open Series in Atlanta. If you guys do want to join in with us, and we have many people watching. We got over 8,000 right now.
Yes, we do.
So we do appreciate that. You can tweet with us at SCG Live, hashtag SCGATL. Join in on the conversation. As Game 2 is underway, Aaron's found 6 cards that he's happy with, and we are going to begin play. Isolated Chapel, again, Eddie's deck doesn't have a lot of things to do on the opening turns of the game. Turn 3 is really where the ball starts to get rolling for him, which is a little bit dangerous spot to start the game with Mono Red being a deck in the format, but it's worked out so far for him. We're going to see a Vault of the Archangel. And we're going to see Lingering Souls.
Lingering Souls, okay.
And that is a card that is relatively good against the Jund deck.
Yep, it obviously has answers, primarily Bonfire of the Damned being the most effective and Thundermaw Hellkite being the most efficient. But yeah, you can get in some incidental damage. It throws up some blocks on Thragtusk. Definitely a reasonable card and almost always yielding value.
So you see Aaron rearranging his hand a little bit. There is a Vampire Nighthawk hiding in there, I believe.
That's going to make the Lingering Souls a little worse.
You nailed it again.
Man, I'm on fire.
Somebody
today.
tell Pat. Pat doesn't need to come back. And there is a Vampire Nighthawk. So Lingering Souls not looking so good right now.
Devour Flesh looking pretty hot though. Let's see if we can peel up on those.
If we left that one in.
Awkward.
Yeah, a little bit.
Orzhov Charm is also a pretty reasonable solution. Ultimate price. I imagine we would keep our 2 copies in even if we didn't bring in the 3rd.
Yeah.
Just because it has targets. So that's what he's going to be hoping for here. Doesn't look like he has it. Drog Skull Captain?
Yeah. Maybe a Geist of St. Traft.
Either of those is not awesome, but it's something.
And
Detention Sphere. Okay, I'm down.
And that'll clear the road. You got to get through that Vampire Nighthawk some way.
Yep.
So here come the 2 Spirit Tokens. Going to knock Aaron down to 18. You're going to untap. Going to take a draw step. Draw Thundermaw Hellkite.
That's a pretty good one. Does he have lands? That's the important question.
That's the big part.
I see a Cavern of Souls. Now, he might be tempted to do something like name Dragon here because he doesn't know if Eddie doesn't have counterspells.
Yeah.
It's reasonable to assume Dissipate. We're going to get a word on what that thing actually named. I think Beast might be the safer call, but I would be very... Okay, Dragon is fine. I was about to say, like, I would probably name Dragon.
Especially when he only has 1 red mana right now, too. Obviously, he has a lot of red mana to draw to in his deck.
You just want to draw the card.
Yeah.
Guaranteeing it resolves, that's just a side bonus.
Yeah. So you're going to see Watery Grave coming in untapped here.
What does that mean? Do we have Obsidat? Do we have Big Papa? Do we have Cosby himself?
The world wants to see him. Oh, don't tease me.
Oh.
Don't you tease me. Oh, attack first. Oh, don't you tease me. Show him to me.
Show me the...
There it is.
All right.
Obsidat Ghost Council is here, and things are about to start getting ugly.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy to have Obsidat against even a Thundermaw Hellkite, I think.
You do see it when it comes to the battlefield. Aaron is going to lose 2, and he's going to gain 2, and that thing is out of here.
Peace.
Yeah. I will see you next turn.
With Vault of the Archangel online, Eddie's also going to be able to create an even larger life swing should Thundermaw Hellkite start clocking in. And that's assuming Eddie doesn't have spells.
Yeah.
That's actually the worst case scenario. Just what, 12-point life swing?
Yeah, that's
every
it.
turn. That's it.
So you do see Aaron does have a Rakdos Return in his hand. You know, he's got some of his slower elements here. There's a Searing Spear hiding out over there. Searing Spear, you know, nothing too advertised in the Searing Spear right now. 2 Spirit Tokens and an Obsidat, and you're going to see a Rakdos Return for 2.
Blightning you. Lingering Souls? No.
2 Geist Traps. Wow.
Yeah, we probably didn't need those. We were doing fine.
That's terrifying. If I Rakdos Return my opponent, they just discarded 2 Geist, didn't care, as you're going to see a drain here from Obsidat again, I would be horrified.
Interestingly, Obsidat, probably one of the most depressing triggers you could miss in a game of Magic the Gathering. Yeah. You see Eddie using a die foam to remind himself of his upkeep.
And that's the card that he kept, which is Drogskull Captain. This
For
looks
game.
like, yeah, this is a lethal attack. See you later, buddy. Eddie Walker does win game 2 in very convincing fashion.
Yep. Ain't no thing.
Yeah. Hi, Obsidat. And Rakdos Return, you're tapped out. Okay, we'll finish you off real quick. Wow. Yeah. Wow. That was a good Magic card. You need to find a nice home for that card and a shell to go around it. But if you can do that, that card is horrifying to me.
Yeah. That's a little frightening. Drogskull Captain leading the charge in here too, with a Big Papa just swooping in.
Yeah. That is absolutely terrifying to me, the things that card can do and how it's so difficult to kill, because just thinking of the instant speed removal that can kill that card, I'm having a hard time. The instant speed removal spell that I think about immediately is Ultimate Price. It doesn't do it.
Like, if someone tells me they're playing a Drogskull Captain deck, all the cards that I'm thinking of to beat this deck, Supreme Verdict, Bonfire of the Dead, Rolling Templar. I'm like, all right, these are the cards I want to play against this deck.
Yeah.
Obsidat just punishes you for relying on all 3 of them.
Yes.
Horribly, horribly punishes you.
Yes. And if the format is able to, slow down enough where Obsidat is a good card, this is going to be a nightmare for a control deck to be able to deal with.
Yep.
Your Naya mid-range deck, you can throw a lot of things in the way of it, make the attacking a little bit worse. But, if Esper Control with Planeswalker shows up, or, your Bant Control deck, stuff like that, this is, things get out of control with what Obsidat can do, because, again, it doesn't have to attack. It can pick its spots. If you can make Zorius Charm it, I can just not attack with it.
Yep.
And just drain and gain for a little while until you finally move.
Dodges basically everything played in most conventional control decks right now. You might see some changes. Maybe that necessitates the adoption of a card like Orzhov Charm, which you normally wouldn't be that excited about, like a 2-mana Vendetta effect. But maybe you just need something like that.
Yeah, that could be the case. We do see both players shuffling up here for game number 3. I think Obsidat might be the key here. Obviously Aaron is going to have to draw some lands to be able to interact with his opponent, as he has had trouble doing that both games.
Yep.
Game 1, we saw Aaron get stuck on 3 land. He did Farseek on turn 2 and then didn't have his 4th land on time. But then he eventually drew and was able to cast his spells and win the game. That game, he was just stuck on 4 lands with some good cards in his hand, like a Thragtusk and a Thunderbolt Hellkite, but didn't cast them.
Oh, man.
The old lands and spells.
Lands and spells. Lands and spells. It's tricky.
The key to the game, lands and spells.
I think we're chatting about spirits, so is my guess.
Yeah, they might be having to talk about how good Obsidat is, just like we are.
That Obsidat guy, that was pretty impressive. Yeah, he's been doing that all day. Attacking for 1 million.
Yeah, every opponent said that after I've done that to them, which is completely reasonable. You do see Eddie is ready to present. Both players were happy with their configuration as far as sideboarding is concerned after game 2. Not willing to change very many things here, so game 3 will be underway shortly for you guys at home. I think that this matchup, I think it's actually, it was one that I thought favored the Jund mid-range deck quite a bit, but looking at things now, when you take into account that Eddie has Geist Saint Draft, he has Drogskull Captain to make things a little bit difficult, as that is a must-answer threat before the second one comes down.
Yep.
He does have Lingering Souls, and he does have Obsidat. As much removal as the Jund mid-range deck does have, it's not particularly efficient.
Nope. Eddie can definitely present just the right combination of threats and probably punch through most of what Aaron's presenting.
Yeah.
The tricky thing being, when he has the draw that doesn't have something like an Obsidat to make Bonfire not good enough or whatever.
Yeah.
It can be really easy to just get folded by a Bonfire on turn 5, or on 5 mana, I should say.
That's when things can go up in smoke a little bit here. It's important for Aaron this game, get off to a decent start. Farseek is ideal, of course, make one of the better cards in the Jund mid-range deck on the opening turns of the game, and be able to pressure the opponent and just keep getting through with removal spells. I think that's what he needs to do in this game.
Yep.
Play a Hunt Master of the Fells. Eddie does something, all right, kill your guy, keep attacking. I think that's the kind of draw he's going to need to win this game. as Aaron is taking a look at his opening 7 cards.
Looks like he's keeping.
Looks like he's happy enough. And Eddie. All right, both players are happy. Game 3 is underway. Blood Crypt to start.
See a Huntmaster, another Blood Crypt, a Thragtusk, a Rakdos' Return, and another land. That's all I got for you on the glance.
All right.
Liliana of the Veil off the top for Aaron, and there's the Blood Crypt. No Farseek, man. We keep real light over here.
No Farseek, first of all. But the bigger question here is, does he have green mana?
If he has like a Woodland Cemetery or something, you would certainly lead with the Blood Crypt here.
Absolutely.
So it's gotten harder with the introduction of Gatecrash to actually figure out when a shockland means landlight and when it just means this is the right land to play this turn.
Yeah.
I've noticed that myself. I started thinking, I'm like, oh, well, what if he just had a Buddy Land?
Yeah, that's true. You do see a Godless Shrine come and play untapped here for Eddie. See what this is representing. Again, it might just be showing us a cycling of an Azorius Charm on the end step. So you're going to see a Rootbound Crag. So green mana is here.
I believe he just drew the Crag, though, so you might have had it right the first go.
It does just pass the turn back. Playing the Godless Shrine untapped, not doing anything with it, that's a little bit curious.
Yeah, that's a weird rep.
You're going to see
maybe he has Devour Flesh or Ultimate Price and just wanted to be able to kill a guy if one got played, like a Nighthawk.
Okay, that can make sense. So you do see Lingering Souls here from Eddie.
Yeah, I see an Ultimate Price in his hand, actually, so I guess that was his line.
Perfect.
Interesting. Cavern of Souls, I believe that was the land that I saw when I took a glance at the opener.
One card right now that's not all that impressive. Liliana of the Veil for Aaron. We know that's over there in his hand, and
Lingering Souls is an excellent card against Liliana of the Veil in all formats.
Yes, in every single one. As you do find it in Modern quite a bit in the old Jundmirs. You're going to see a Woodland Cemetery here from Aaron. Is it Huntmaster of the Fells time? Maybe Olivia Voldaren? We're going to see a Huntmaster of the Fells. Eddie gives it the thumbs up. You're going to get your Wolf token. You're going to get 2 life.
What do we got? I think I see a Dungeon Geist in there. I wouldn't be a big fan of a Dungeon Geist this turn, as we saw it didn't work out especially awesome last time. These are just not the creatures you want to lock out of combat. Huntmaster is the one you want to just get dead.
Yeah.
Just end his life.
He's got to go.
Interestingly, we can assume that Isolated Chapel was drawn on like one of these last couple turns, given that he had to shock himself for black on turn 2.
Yep.
So maybe Eddie's a little landlight. Drogskull Captain, the race is on. It's an interesting line. Aaron's highly incentivized to just pass turn, obviously killing the Drogskull Captain, but maybe Eddie's just fine with getting in, basically 4 damage.
Yeah.
Since he'll get a free turn to attack for the additional 2 on the next turn.
Yeah, that's the question you have to ask yourself. Is that 2 points of damage now and then the following 2 points of damage worth it? To lose my Drogskull Captain. Of course, there are 3 copies of Restoration Angel in Eddie's deck, so maybe he could be.
If he has an Angel, I would be very happy with this play. It's a good save. You do give your opponent a 4/4 Trampler, which is nothing to slouch at.
Yeah.
If he had a card like Unsummon in his deck, then I would like this play also, like having an Unsummon. And to be fair, Aaron has to consider the possibility of such a card. It's not like people don't play Unsummon.
As you do see the Wolf token come across here, Eddie not willing to trade with the Drogskull Captain, which makes sense. And this is going to force Aaron to this is going to force Aaron to pass the turn, I think.
I think so, yeah. It looks like he has Cavern. I think that's his last land in his hand.
Because to me, the threat of a second Drogskull Captain is just too scary.
He's going to Duress. Okay. Well, Duress hits
Orzhov
Charm. Orzhov Charm would have stopped the Huntmaster from flipping in the upkeep. That's a strong answer. He's reading it, comprehending that is what would have happened.
And we'll bring it up on the screen for you guys because it does have a lot of text. So much text, in fact, that it can't afford flavor text.
That's true. Orzhov Charm, one of my favorite cards from the set. I hope it finds a home. I'm not certain that it will. Feels like it's on the threshold, though.
Well, the card that does so many different things like Orzhov Charm does, I can't imagine it not finding him.
Its first ability has so much text for a mode you will use so infrequently.
Yeah.
Bounce my own guy and all the auras?
Yeah.
Oh, but if it's their aura, they get it back? Oh, okay.
All right, so bounce my guy then?
Yeah. Slightly worse than bounce my guy, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Saves your auras, but I feel like you would mostly be using it to free your guy from a passivism or something,
Sure.
It's kind of awkward. So we have Ultimate Price, Orzhov Charm. I feel like we just discard the Orzhov Charm here, but he appears to be considering doing something else. Perhaps he has a Vampire Nighthawk. Maybe he's not, realizing the Orzhov Charm's ability to counter his Huntmaster.
this was such an interesting line taken here by Eddie too, right? Because
Yep.
you know he plays a Drogskol Reaver, or Drogskol Captain, excuse me, and he's basically daring Aaron to just pass the turn back.
Yeah.
You know, I dare you to just
And he
pass
has the
turn.
trump, so I like it.
Yeah.
And he got Aaron pretty good here, I think. Like he duressed the ultimate price away, which I don't really like that.
The ultimate price not really doing much right now.
And he has a second copy, even if it was going to start. We're racing a wolf token rather easily.
There's your
Liliana, we're going to discard, I don't know, whatever card isn't Orzhov Charm or Dungeon Geist, probably.
Yeah, or I'm just going to
Maybe we
sacrifice
discard
the Spirit
Dungeon
token.
Geist.
Yeah, I don't think Dungeon Geist is going to have much of an impact on this game.
I feel like if he Thragtusk next turn, you want to have Dungeon Geist available, though, is my issue.
Okay, I can see an argument for that. I mean, he's doing such a good job of like winning the race.
That's really awkward. Duress ultimate price, Liliana? Well, I'll just get rid of the ultimate price.
I don't need it anymore.
Odds that the 4th worst card in my 4-card hand is better than the 5th worst card?
And now you're going to see Drogskol Captain number 2, and this is the old combo that's SCG Black used to
Yeah, he named...
pretty good effectiveness at Pro Tour Honolulu last year. You know, assembling Drogskol Captain with a Phantasmal Image, or other such clone effects, or just drawing 2 of them.
Yeah, pretty sure... Wow, what's going on here? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We have a land as well, so we can actually make our guys invulnerable. That's pretty good.
Yes.
And then we're going to play our Shockland untapped so we can threaten Orzhov Charm as well.
Yes.
Scale of 1 to good, that's pretty good. We can flashback Lingering Souls if we want. I feel like that's completely unnecessary. If Aaron top decks a Bonfire, we just have no reason to like be dead on the spot. You know, might as well make him do some stuff.
And you do see Hollow Fountain coming to play untapped here. And will he flashback Lingering Souls or just pass it back? This is the...
Would we have lethal if we did that? Because then I guess maybe there's some incentive. It looks like we would.
We would have lethal if we flashback.
Oh no, we'd have
here.
14, right? Am I miscounting? Yeah, it'd be 14, so it wouldn't even be lethal.
3, 6, 3, 6.
Or no, sorry,
12.
there are 2. I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just dumb. I didn't add on to the Lingering
Well,
Souls.
I didn't want to tell you that you were dumb, because I'm nice.
It's 18, so
Yeah.
it would be lethal. I guess maybe there's incentive to doing that. We're only blown out by a Miracle Bonfire. That's like the big thing. If he could actually just cast one, then I would never do it.
Famous last words. It's
Yeah.
only a Miracle Bonfire that beats me.
Only Miracle Bonfire.
That's right.
beats
Isn't that right, Brian Kibler?
We've all
That's
been in
all
that
it
boat.
is.
We've
It's
all
just a
been
Miracle
there.
Bonfire that beats me. Nothing else.
I barely play Magic, and I've been there a lot, so.
So you see in Aaron's hand, you see a Thragtusk. You also see a Rakdos return. The 2 cards that he's shuffling back and forth here. And he does have 5 mana. You are going to see Rakdos return. Take care of things here.
I imagine we're just going to Orzhov Charm Huntmaster in response. There's no real reason not to. Boom, got him.
Yep. Get that out of here.
Falling to 12. Attacking for a lot.
Yeah, Dungeon Geist goes bye-bye. Eddie empty-handed now.
Well, we're attacking for 12. If we draw another captain, that's game. Very little else is game. We now also, if Aaron just had a Bonfire in his hand, we would be able to get our token sweat next turn.
Yep.
But I think we've probably ascertained at this point that that is not the case.
Yeah.
So I think flashbacking Lingering Souls is totally fine. There's no way he would have Rakdos returned us when, like, well, I guess he would have had to, but the previous turn when he duressed, it would have just been better to Bonfire if he had it.
Yeah, I mean, flashbacking Lingering Souls the previous turn is pretty good. Flashbacking Lingering Souls this turn, I actually don't like at all.
You don't like?
No, I just
For
don't
the
think
same
there's any.
logic?
I just don't think there's any reason to, right? You know, like let's say that Aaron, does Miracle of Bonfire here. If we flash it back, we're out. We're on empty. Whereas, we're gonna attack for 12 here, put Aaron to 3, force him to flash back, and force him to hit the Miracle Bonfire.
Okay.
And if he doesn't, then he's just dead.
That's fair. It's fine. I mean,
Hit me with your best shot. Foreshadowing. There is also Mizium Mortars too.
yeah. That's true.
So-
I did not consider Museum Orders. I would probably have gone and played that land just because Liliana's a card, but we're not really scared of anything at this point.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Obviously, if our opponent casts Liliana, we're probably jumping for joy.
Yeah, I think you're pretty
Whee!
stoked. See an attack here for 2. Play down to 7.
Mizium Mortars, look at you.
Yep.
Cedric Psychic Phillips.
I call that foreshadowing. Where I come from?
That's
It's not foreshadowing.
sick. Well,
By the way,
because
all your things are dead.
Eddie held that Lingering Souls in his graveyard, smart man. He still has enough pressure to threaten closing out this game before Aaron can come back into it.
And there's Lingering Souls being flashed back. 2 spirits are
Looks
back.
like, yeah, he drew another Shockland. He has Watery Grave still in his hand.
Aaron draws a card.
Hope it's not Thragtusk. Or Thundermaw Hellkite.
I think he was sandbagging Thrantos, right?
He named Beast, so maybe. I'm not sure, though. I don't recall seeing.
I'm almost positive he has a
He's
Thraktus
got
in
one.
his hand. Yeah. He puts
Land.
Dragon Skull Summon, and here comes Thraktus. And now he's up to 8. Talk about a swing. Yeah, because the turn where you played Rakdos return, he had Thraktus and Rakdos return.
Okay.
So Amicia Mortar is a top of deck.
What do we got? What do we got?
That card looked gold.
It did look gold. Was it Obsidat?
Oh, that is Obsidat.
If it's, I think it's either Obsidat or another captain. Another captain, no muy bueno. An Obsidat, muy bueno.
Beatdowns? Is it beatdown o'clock? We're gonna see an attack.
I think we want to, if it's a Diregraph or a Drogsoul captain, I think I would just attack with 1, play the captain and pass, probably? I'm not sure.
In for, yeah, you gotta be careful here. In for 2. It's definitely not Drogsoul Captain.
Drogsoul captain, go.
Yeah, it's definitely not Drogsoul Captain.
Nope, it's Obsidat. Okay.
It's Obsidat.
Alrighty, I like this line. This was basically perfect. Put our opponent to 4. Now we have to leave him in play, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is a little bit risky, right? Like, the attack with the spirits is the thing that is a little bit confusing to me. Like,
you just send 1 and put him to 5.
I mean, do I have to send it all?
I mean, I think you want to put him within range of being dead next turn, right? Like, you want to just block, put him here. He has to peel a burn spell or removal spell or whatever. If he doesn't, he's just dead. I think it's reasonable.
You see, Aaron's going to take a look at this again. I don't know, maybe I just want to play a little bit too safe here. If we don't attack, then our opponent's at 6, and I feel like, you know, the things that Aaron can have in his deck, there are so many different things. I mean, maybe there isn't anything that he can have besides those 2 victims to kill this, though.
If we attack him to 5, leaving back a spirit, then we would remove the Obsidat, right? Like, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think so.
Because otherwise you're just losing to all the same cards effectively.
See, because this is the tough part, right? If he attacks with the Thragtusk when we're at 7...
I just snap block that wolf token. All the burn spells would have beat me anyway. It doesn't really matter.
Well, Pillar Flame wouldn't beat you if you don't attack with the Spirit token.
I wouldn't expect Pillar Flame in his deck anymore, though.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, like, it could be there, but if I lose to Pillar Flame in this situation, I think I'm okay with it. I'm just like, well, that happened. I don't think it should have.
Glenn, I know you too well. You would not be okay with it.
I mean, I'd be surprised. I think that's the best word. So if we leave the Spirit back, he'd be at 5. We'd be at 7, and I think we still have to leave the Obsidat to just disincentivize attacking completely. I don't really like that, because then when the next turn comes around, we're just in the same spot. Except he got to draw a card, and now we get to draw a card. I'd rather just give him his 1 shot. I like to put people to 1 shot, though. I'm a big fan when they're hellbent, I just make them draw it. And granted, I'm me, so you know they do most of the time. But
So
see, Olivia, there you go.
Olivia. Granted, I'm me.
This is actually not so bad. I mean, it's not great.
It's not great. Token down.
But we're going to be able to attack with Obsidat and force Olivia to block.
Yeah, which is a big deal.
Yeah, and then we can exile him, and because we're at 7, we're no longer dead to anything except still...
Oh, baby. Oh, baby.
Oh, baby. We just got Dungeon
Guys, have a good day.
Taking him downstairs, boys.
Oh, boy. Lock him in the dungeon. Eddie Walker.
Dungeon
Esper Spirits. Dungeon Geist, take it down.